Hey everyone. Continuing our journey into exploring immersive media out of Unreal Engine. I've been looking at more Niagara effects and how we can push it really. Just been trying to break it. Found a couple cool tips along the way for if you're doing kind of more complex Niagara systems, CG based particles and things like that. So I'm gonna start off by looking at this interactor um, and how it can be applied to more Niagara systems. Just need to simulate. Very cool. So yeah, it's actually really easy once you got this blueprint to apply it to more Niagara systems. So I've been playing around with that, playing around with just looking at a range of Niagara systems and seeing if I can find any that 360 kind of struggles with, and all of them have the same kind of things that come up really. So I'm kind of just gonna go through those. Yeah, so this blueprint interactor thing, I've got some cool notes, found some interesting stuff about CG particles and sort of their bounds and how it can kind of cull CG particles when you're not looking at them, whether it's 360 or not, but you can kind of set the bounds a bit higher to fix that. And then I've also been looking at chaos and physics. And so yeah, I'm just going to share some stuff on caching destructibles, caching chaos systems, and how that can really help with rendering 360 as well. So yeah, just gonna look at those things really. But yeah, this is just very fun to play with. So yeah, last time we looked at this like blueprint interactor, which is really nice. And yeah, I'll just show you quickly how. So if you check out last week's really short video, it shows how to set up this interactor. And you can see it's kind of pushing the particles around as you move it. Super nice. And now I'll just show you how you can add that to any new actor really quickly. Pretty sweet. So I've done it with this one. Let's see what it does with, yeah, that one. Yeah, this one could be cool. I kind of want to see what it does with this one as well. So yeah, let's do it for both actually. What if we move this one over here? See, I set up this blueprint before, and what it does, it takes Niagara systems like so. Can I make it do multiple? Surely we can make that an array. Niagara system by right clicking. And then we'll probably just have to make this into a for each, which is cool. While it's doing that, in the actual system, all we've got to do is find that same parameter that we had. So we got to make a point attraction force. Find this same simulator position. Let's make it 300. No, minus 100 and then 300. And then just make a user parameter. And then it's going to be the same name as the other one, so that's all we have to do. Very cool. I can do it for this one as well. Point attraction minus 100, 300 user parameter. So it's named it user attractor position. which, because that's what we had in our blueprint already, and it'll read that. Where did the blueprint go? Niagara pusher. Cool, so that's now an array, but we need to do like a get it's a for each. So that should be able to do it for, so it's got that same name, user attracted position. That's the same across all of these. So we can pick 3. Nice. And then this should just interact once we're simulating. Ooh. Whoa. That one's really nice. This one, maybe there's some other stronger forces or something. I guess the good thing is the point attraction force is unique to each system, so let's just look at this a bit more. Wow. Wow. There's something so yummy about that. Whoa. Got this really dainty, smushy thing. Very fun. Carpet, plush carpet sort of thing going on. Wow. Love that. And like from the perspective of the camera, moving around that, probably look quite cool as well. Yeah, so I'm not gonna play around with that much more this time, but quite cool to see that it can just run around and affect different systems. Let's just do the whole changing a parameter on this. Oh, that's just moving the system around. Whoops. Yeah, so that is pushing now. Pretty subtle still, but that's quite nice. Yeah. So yeah, what I realized is, so I did some test renders. If you have determinism on for the system, the point attraction force, so determinism, yeah, the point attraction force will still be deterministic even when the blueprint comes in and like pushes it around. I guess it makes sense. It's all dealing with non-random values. But yeah, clicking that determinism and then doing a tiled render, you can then use this, which is really nice. Yeah, I don't know what people would use this for exactly, but I think quite often it looks good from a distance. I was doing this like connecting the sphere to the actual camera, so it's kind of looking from exactly here. Could be good for like a space scene going through comets or something, but looking from a distance is equally as cool for sure. But yeah, that determinism checkbox, that still works even with this additional force, which is great. I'm still trying to find things that will break it. Whoa. Super cool. But yeah, I might do a render of this after this stream just to see if anything else comes up. But so far I found determinism here. Easy checkbox. You can then do tiled 360 renders. And that's really cool. Another thing I've been looking at is Niagara stuff. More Niagara stuff. So if we have like this system that I was making last week. Oh, I do have it. It's just under there. Never mind. Let's do that. We got our pusher thing. Yeah, we don't really need the pusher thing for what I'm talking about here, but yeah, if you want to figure out how to make this, I showed it on last week's stream. I mean, a few people have done tutorials on it as well. I got it from Sem Schroeder. He did an awesome stream a little while back, but there are some good tutorials out there. But I was making some renders. So yeah, we can preview this live actually with the render target, which is awesome. Another useful moment for the render target. So imagine debugging this stuff by actually rendering it. It'd be ridiculous. But so Niagara systems that are GPU computed can be a bit funky with fixed bounds. It automatically had 100 by 100 by 100. And then if we look through this, see, wait, I'll just do it through the viewport. Let's hide the camera. Oh my god. Oh, that's weird. That should be hidden. Oh, wow. Why? That's so weird that I can see the camera there. Let's make another camera. I've done something weird there, but all good. What? What? That's really odd. Okay, never mind. Let's use the render target to preview this. I'm gonna show you this problem that I fixed. Yeah, so cubes popping in and out like this. And this is to do with the bounds of a GPU computed sim. So when you're not looking at it in 360, it's still doing this. It's just you can't see it because you can't see every single part of the simulation. But what's interesting is like, you know, here we're not even looking through the 360 view. It's essentially the same as the Unreal viewport. They do pop in and out still. And this is like just to save resources. It's saying, you know, when you pass out of the system, make the particles disappear. So you can raise the bounds. And then yeah, that fixes the popping in and out. It will happen still, but it's just like further out. So it will happen. So if we look at the 360, it's still happening out here. You can see that. But by the time we're like here, then it's all good. So it's kind of tricky to get. I mean, yeah, you can find the point where you're all good, but if if you wanted to do like passing in and out of a particle system, it's kind of tricky without turning off the GPU compute. So if we're like here, we could turn it back to CPU dynamic and we'll get a performance hit, but you don't get any of this popping in and out. And you could do a sort of passing all the way into a system. It's kind of interesting, that difference. There might be there might be another way to sort of fix that, like to say maybe programmable bounds. Programmable. I wonder if you could say like the bounds are the 360 camera's position. Don't know. I'll look into that, but yeah. Interesting. Then last thing I've been learning really is sort of chaos stuff. Again, it's like interesting to see if chaos, what do you call them? Chaos systems. Yeah, let's see if they kind of break. I was just kind of throwing everything at once at this. I got some random heterogeneous volumes as well in there. Heterogeneous. And sort of making a thing that has it all going on. And then again, super cool that we can preview this in 360. I've done something in this version to this, but you preview it on the render target. Wait. Play this. I pause it like here. Wait. Why didn't that pause rendering? Interesting. Okay. But yeah, through loads of chaos systems at it. It's just like, kind of get it to break and it seems really good. Oh, cool. I can just pause. So interesting about Niagara interacting with the kind of volumes. That's a bit odd, but like, particles and things not causing any seams off the bat. And then, so what I really want to test is like rendering this stuff tiled. Because tiled renders kind of come into this area of you having to run through the same sequence again and again. So this is made up of, each face is made up of like vertical columns and then stitch together after. So this is just proving that the chaos is like hashing correctly and not doing anything different for all the times that it runs through the whole simulation. So it's great to see you can just get a lot. A lot of stuff going on, and yeah, stitch it together. This is all working because these are chaos caches rather than like direct systems happening immediately. So for example, if I was to make a chaos system like this one, we look carefully. This one cached? I don't think I've cached this one. Maybe it is. It will be slightly different every time if it's not cached. That one looks cached, to be fair. I might just remake this quickly for the sake of it. Yeah, doing these kind of ceiling falling in the simulations is really fun. Yeah, put it like there. And then a fracture. Create a new fracture. It's going to create a whole collection. I'm going to save it in a little chaos folder. Let's create a collection. Then we can do fracture. You can kind of preview it. Using noise is really good. It's got amplitude and lacunarity. These are the kind of things we want to tweak. So yeah, I can fracture because we can always reset it. Oh, that's taking ages. Usually it's a bit quicker than that. Oh, that's great to hear, Michael Narlock. Yeah, it is mesmerizing. I spend a lot of time being like looking at really high res renders, being like, yeah, that's awesome. Like doing really, really high res renders and then zooming in a lot and being like, I can't see any pixels. I got 32 by 32K recently. Oh, is this because I put the amplitude way up? Let's cancel it. That should not be taking that long. Yeah, great to hear it. Great to hear you're having a good time with it. Oh, I guess, is this just giving me like a preview? I guess. There we go. Should have been immediate like that. Cool, so I got that fracture. Can look at it exploded. It's cool. Can reset it. I think that was a bit too wiggly. So a bit lower on the amplitude. That's pretty good. What have I done there to make it take ages? Okay, it wasn't too bad. I guess it's like quite fine little displacement to it, isn't it? Try one more time. I can't remember what the default was here. So, um, the amplitude 1, frequency 0.1, this 5, point spacing 10. So need to select all. Oh, interesting. Key. And then I want some smaller bits within the fractures. There's some big bits as well. You can do some really cool stuff. Checked out a certain page. You just find a really good documentation page. Don't have it up still, but such a good page on what you can do with Niagara systems. I really want to dive a bit deeper into it. Sort of like points of contact, fractures causing other fractures, spawning Niagara systems on fractures, stuff like that. Super cool. So yeah, that would do. And then what I was doing was hooking it into these sort of anchors. Turn the bones off. And then got these. It's just saying like don't fall down. Trying to hold on to the certain bits. So these bits will stay still while the rest falls. So that feels a bit more like a ceiling falling in. Oh, and then I need something pushing it down. And this other one will fall down anyway because it's already cached, I think. Yeah. So nice. Yeah, and then see this central area, it's kind of holding on, which I really like. That actually felt really nice. But if we wanted to, we could go in now and sort of reset the fracture or add to it. And then all we have to do is just simulate again and see the difference. Whoa, there we went flying. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Really feels like a ceiling falling down. Then if I want to cache this, it's pretty easy. So like it's good to cache it for performance anyway, but because we're talking about how the 360 camera, when you're rendering really, really high res, you have to render all the way through the sequence, go back, render the whole sequence again from the next perspective around to break the really high res render into its little pieces, into its smaller images to then stitch them together. At the moment, this is the only way we can do it is by running through the whole sequence. So as we can see, this is different every time. So if we were to just leave it as a dynamically triggered system, it would be different for every face of the 360 render. So obviously that's not ideal. So yeah, just caching this. I feel like it's kind of easier to deal with when it's cached as well, because you've then just got an asset that you can bring into the level. But yeah, to do that, we would go create cache manager. Yeah, let's call it new collection 8. Save it here. Well, let's do ceiling 3 actually. So then we should have a manager in here, ceiling 3. Here, so it's created it here, linked to ceiling 3. Then it's going to record. So yeah, this will record. Maybe if I didn't like that one, I can make a new one. Oh, this is just because of some particle system thing I was working on. I don't mind those. They won't be in the final thing. I'm not getting any more that I like. Okay, that will do. Oh, maybe I need to let it run a bit more. That one. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, stop. And then we can set this to play. Play that back. So this is now recorded. In here. Ceiling 3. Yeah. I can turn off that Niagara thing. Some kind of notify, wasn't it? That's weird. Geometry collection. Can't remember, but you won't have that by default. Weird little Niagara system spawning. But yeah, then this can just be brought into another level. So it's from the world origin. And then you did see it way back there, falling. Then I've been looking at making these triggerable by a sequence. And I didn't really get on with the method that a lot of people were talking about, which was to kind of add the chaos system. Let's see if it works for this one randomly. Chaos ceiling and then add start time. This is what it says in the documentation, but it doesn't seem to work for me. Static pose. Nope. Unless it needs to go on a lot longer. Yeah, it didn't really work for me. So what we can do is change it to triggered. Take it off of the level blueprint. And then I was just saying, like, when we hit this trigger box, trigger the system. So could bring the camera back here a bit more. I've had to put a cube around it so that it does actually overlap, which is quite funny. But it works. And then like put a trigger box here. And go level. Overlap. And then grab the thingy. Trigger. So then the camera is triggering the system just as it passes through on the level sequence. So there, it'll cause it to fall. I think there's a bit of a delay anyway, so it might be like here. But I guess this is kind of cool because we can always change where this is. You know, change when it passes through. So yeah, I do like that system. And then because the level sequence is playing on begin play, level sequence, we can hit simulate and like view it as the camera. If it's unpaused, yeah. Oi. Don't know why that didn't trigger. Let's see. Play triggered? Yeah, surely. Yeah. So then even though I've changed the sequence, like the speed of the camera, I'm going to hit the next trigger box. Oh. The other ones will go off. I get to here, that one goes off. So it's kind of like, I really like this middle ground between film stuff and game stuff here by like using sequencer alongside things like trigger boxes and sequencer events as well. They're really great. As like someone with a animator's background, I like my sequenceable events rather than lots of delays and things like this. I find it easier to kind of go through a playhead. Something I love using is event tracks. Really nice and quick to use. Could just say, is there something to like reset these? Let's just go destroy everything. Can't do that. So when we hit this, you can go endpoint, new endpoint, or you can just do keyframe, then double click, and it'll take you to the endpoint. And this is a little blueprint for the sequence. So I love this because it's just like when we hit there, we know an event is going to go off. That's been super helpful for me. Then let's see. Should just like get rid of the floor and stuff. Maybe not. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I love that you can do that. Maybe you'd rather use that to trigger the Niagara systems than rather than trigger boxes. I quite like the spatial element of the trigger boxes. But yeah, because this is all caches, that will render fine in 360, even tiled. Yeah, that's all I've got to share this week. But thanks for jumping in, and not sure what we'll show next week, but I'm sure I will have discovered some other stuff. So yeah, thanks a lot. Catch you next time.